Okay, let's have a look at the changes of state we need to know about in IB chemistry. And what we're really interested in is naming the changes of state between the three most common states of matter, which would be solids, liquids and gases. So first of all, if we are to get from a solid, let's imagine an ice cube, to liquid water, we would be talking about the process of melting. If I continue to heat my liquid water, it would eventually turn into a gas through a process of vaporization. Now, vaporization actually has two kind of subcategories. We might talk about evaporation, which occurs when particles at the surface of my liquid turn into a gas, or if I heat my liquid to the boiling point of that liquid, then all the particles in the liquid would start turning into a gas, which is why we see bubbles, because particles in the middle of my liquid are also turning into a gas. If I go back the other way from a gas to a liquid, we would be talking about the process of condensing or condensation. And if I continue to cool my liquid, we would eventually turn back into, for example, ice. If we're talking about water, that process would be freezing. There are also two other changes of state we need to be aware of. Firstly, in certain kind of temperature and pressure conditions, a solid could turn directly into a gas in a process that we call sublimation. And going back the other way, again at certain kind of pressure conditions, a gas could turn directly into a solid in a process that we would call deposition. Now, one point to mention, you'll notice all of the arrows moving from left to right are in the colour red. That's because in all three of these processes, the particles in my substance are overcoming interparticle forces. And that, for example, from ice to liquid would allow my particles to move freely, although still close together. If I look at the blue arrows going from right to left, we actually see the opposite happening, where my interparticle forces are effectively regaining control of particles. So if I consider moving from a gas like water vapor back to liquid water, we find that the particles or the water molecules in that example would be moving back close to each other because those interparticle forces are regaining control of them. And those are the 6 changes of state we need to know about IB chemistry. Hopefully this video was of some help.